702
Masterclass.
7 minutes after 2 o'clock, it's the second and final hour of 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile, Mabotja, and it's an exciting hour because we're back together again with Absa Home Loans, and we've got 5,000 Rand that we will be giving away. But here is the deal. You have to listen out to the masterclass. The question we're going to ask is going to be related to some of the information that we are giving out, and then we'll tell you the question and you will WhatsApp us the answer, and somebody, a lucky listener, will be getting 5,000 Rand cash courtesy of Absa Home Loans. Now, what we'll be talking about in this masterclass is the importance of inspections before purchasing a property. So we'll talk all things around that. We're joined by Marisia Robus, who is Certified Master Inspector with NABISA, the National Association of Building Inspectors of South Africa. And we look forward to taking your calls on 011 883 0702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 Afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. The masterclass with me, Relebogile Mabotja, on 702 is brought to you by Absa Home Loans. Ts&Cs apply. Absa is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider, NCRCP7. Now, every first and last Wednesday of the month, 702 and Absa Home Loans will walk the home ownership journey with South Africans by providing expert guidance and practical tools, empowering you to make informed decisions and reducing anxiety associated with significant financial commitments such as home ownership. And today we're speaking to Marisia Robus, who is here to explain the importance of professional and thorough home inspections before purchasing that property. Make sure you get in touch with us, 011 883 0702, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Welcome to the show, Marisia. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
I was just thinking to myself, as I was saying professional and stressing, you going in and looking with your eyes is not an inspection, right?
No, it's not.
Tell us why that's not an inspection.
Okay, so the biggest thing when people are buying property is they are being bullied. First of all, by their emotions, because you see this beautiful house and, I'm going to make my son's bedroom here and my daughter and a garden and Christmas parties and birthday parties and a man cave and everything. And you don't see the damp. You just walk right past it.
And the mold.
And the mold. And you don't climb into the roof. You don't climb on top of the roof. And you miss all of those things. And then the next problem is you don't know your national building regulations.
Ooh.
And why that is important is when you have an insurance claim, if your house is not built according to national building regulations, and if you haven't done maintenance, insurance is not going to pay. So I tell you all of those things. I know my building regulations. I say to you, that is a problem. For instance, we had the fire in Midrand recently.
Yes.
Okay. So if you don't have a fire wall between the house and the garage and the fire breaks out, insurance is going to say, we're not paying. If you don't have a fire door between the house and the garage, insurance is not going to pay.
Yes.
So it's very important that, yes, get excited and let your emotions run away with you on the property, but let me do an inspection before you buy.
So let me ask then, because when you're taking out a home loan, the bank does send somebody out to check that the amount is reasonable. Does that person not check the issues? So
No.
what is that person doing? Because in my mind, that person's coming to say, this massive crack means minus 100,000 that.
So the bank, they do a valuation. So they want to make sure their money is safe. So they go and have a look and they say, yes, you want to pay 500,000, R1 million, R2 million for this house. This house is worth 2 million Rand in the suburb. It's got a new kitchen or whatever. Then otherwise the bank will say, no, you want to pay 2 million Rand for this house. It's got an old kitchen, old bathroom. No, it's only valued at 1.5 million or whatever. So the bank, in very, very few cases, the bank will say, listen, we can see structural cracks, or the roof
This house is
sagging,
falling over.
or there's something wrong, and they will call for an inspection, or they will say, we want an engineer certificate. But that happens, I can almost say, one in thousands.
Wow.
Very, very
so
seldom.
very rare, yes.
Very, very rare. So the bank does not do quality control, and the same when you're building a house, because that is a big problem. If you're building a house and then afterwards you have issues with the house, the walls are skewed, there's structural cracks, there's damp or whatever, and then the clients go back to the bank and says, but your valuator came out and approved payments to the builder, why didn't you pick this up? The bank is not there to do quality control. That's your responsibility. And that is why a snag list inspection because when you build a new property, you have to sign a happy letter for the bank to say you're happy with the house. They can pay the builder his final money. Or if you're building cash, you have to make sure before you pay the builder his final money that I do a snag list inspection for you and check all of these things that are wrong. We were just talking earlier about something people don't know is the glass in a bathroom has to be safety glass.
So it's not the same glass as just any glass in
No. So safety glass is similar to your shatterproof glass in your windscreen. So when it breaks, it won't cut you. And regulation says that if a window is within 1.8 meters of a bath or a shower, it must be safety glass. Now, I do snag list inspections, and the glazer has issued a COC, but when I walk in, it's not safety glass. And so what happens? Somebody falls through, slips in the bath, puts their arm through the window, and they cut themselves. You want to put a claim in, and she'll say,
you didn't have the correct one.
It was supposed to be safety glass. So all of those things need to be checked by a professional, because you as a home consumer, you don't know your building regulations.
So let me then ask, for this inspection, how does a person qualify to be able to be an inspector? What is the certificate? What is the course they need to go on?
So I have got more than 12 years of construction experience. And then my dad and I started this business. But at the moment, there is a qualification by Sahita where you can do, but then you register with NABISA, which is the National Association of Building Inspectors of South Africa. And once you register, you will be registered as a trainee inspector until you can provide us with 30 inspection reports that you've done. Now, at NABISA, we spent 2 years putting together a qualification for building inspectors. But unfortunately, we've been waiting for SAQA to approve it for the last 4 years, and we are struggling with them. So once we've had that approved, it'll be offered by UJ and all over the place, and then you can qualify and register with NABISA. So NABISA is taking all the inspectors under their wing: insurance, banking, NHBRC, municipality, everybody, so that we can control the quality of inspectors in South Africa. And when you want to get an inspector to inspect your house or a snag list, make sure, first of all, that they are registered with NABISA, and secondly, check their experience. What do they know about building? Can they do a snag list for you?
Yes, and I think there are also things that are happening, like you said, in hidden areas below the house, within the walls, your plumbing, the electrician things. You've spoken about the glass and things in your roof. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we continue with this masterclass with Absa Home Loans. 19 minutes after 2 o'clock, we continue with our masterclass with Absa Home Loans, talking about the importance of inspections before purchasing a property. No, you looking and checking the plugs or charging your phone is not an inspection. Checking that the gas stove is working. We're in conversation with Marisia Robus, Certified Master Inspector with NABISA. That's the National Association of Building Inspectors of South Africa, and she happens to be the only female master inspector in South Africa. So she knows her business. And we've been talking before we went to the break just around what are the things that one should be thinking about that are not there to the human eye? What are the, even before the inspector comes, maybe some of the questions that you need to ask for and the paperwork you can ask for, because maybe then when the inspector comes over, they will already have certain types of information and they can tell you if the person's lying.
So
011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 0727021702.
So a lot of home purchases or people wanting to purchase houses now say, oh, but I get a mandatory disclosure form with the OTP,
Yes,
when you get
the offer to purchase. Yes.
Let me tell you, I find that 98% of them are completed wrong. Because the people hide behind, oh, I didn't know. Like, for instance, damp. Damp, according to me, is the biggest issue in South African houses. And it's because the builders don't build correctly. So I'll be doing an inspection and I'll see the damp and I'll be chatting to the seller and I'll say, how long have you been struggling with this damp? He says, for the last 10 years. On the mandatory disclosure form, it says there's no damp. Okay?
Do people know what damp is, though?
If the paint's bubbling and peeling, that's damp.
So it's not just like, that's wear and tear.
No. And you must remember, damp is an issue because eventually mold starts growing and mold is a health risk. If somebody's got asthma, mold is a big, big, big problem. So before you buy a house, ask for the mandatory disclosure form, ask for approved building plans. A tip for home buyers, please make your offer subject to approved building plans being provided by the seller, because if the bank goes out and they do a valuation and they see, because you can very clearly see when something's been added on. They added on a granny flat or they extended the master bathroom or something. The bank is going to say, we want approved building plans. So if the seller did not have building plans done and you did not make your offer subject to approved building plans, the bank is going to say, you pay to have the building plans approved.
I just saw a message that said, and I'm not sure if it's similar to that, but they're saying, currently fighting with the agents to get the seller to pay my money back for those costs that were not disclosed.
You see? So now the problem is that once I do a lot of inspections when people have moved in, now they realize there's damp, now they realize there's issues.
When they've moved in?
After they've taken transfer, now they realize there's a problem. I do an inspection, I take the mandatory disclosure form and I say, the seller said there's no damp, here's damp. The seller said there's nothing wrong with the roof, here's a roof leak and whatever. But the problem now is only the lawyers are now going to make money. Because now you've got to go the legal route. That's the problem. So do an inspection before the time. The other thing as well that you've got to remember is that you can save money by doing a property inspection. One of my clients was renting an industrial complex, a big industrial building, 15,000 square meters. He got me to do a maintenance inspection before he put in his offer to the landlord. He saved 3.5 million rand on the purchase price.
Wow.
Because the seller had to replace all the gutters. Now, gutters on an industrial building are huge, and the gutters cost 1.9 million rand.
Wow.
My client didn't know that there was asbestos roofing on the complex. The seller replaced the asbestos roofing. So look at it from that. My client, the buyer, saved 3.5 million rand. But on the other hand, the seller, because he didn't do regular maintenance, lost 3.5 million rand.
Do you find when you go in to do these kind of inspections that the sellers genuinely didn't know?
No, they lied.
I love your honesty.
Some of them didn't know. But 95% or more of them are hiding it. And the other problem I have is that I'll say to the seller sometimes, but you didn't declare the damp, but you now just been telling me you've been struggling with the damp for 10 years. Why didn't you declare it? The agent said I shouldn't. I don't have to declare it because nobody will notice it. You see, so the agents are misleading the sellers and the buyers and everything. And then the buyer says, oh, no, if I'm going to disclose the damp, are they going to offer me less money?
Yes.
You know what I say to people? Disclose everything. Say, listen, I wanted 2 million rand for the house. There's damp. There's an issue with the roof. I'll take 1.9 million. Then you're going to sell your house easier because you are being honest.
Yeah, and I guess for the agents that work on commission, it's in their interest to try and get as much as possible out of the house.
Yes, but isn't it better to sell the house faster? You know, even if you sell it for 100,000 rand less, have the house on the market for a shorter period of time and get your money in quicker.
So what I'm getting from what you've said so far is obviously we need to call someone like yourself before problems.
No, for sure.
You're right. So how does that process work and how much is that cost? Because for some, maybe they're like, I know I should be calling in an inspector, but I'm going to take my chances.
Okay. So the correct way of doing it, or the clever way of doing it, is when you put your offer in, you make it subject to a property inspection and the outcome of the inspection being acceptable to you. Very important that you put that clause in, because if you make it subject to a property inspection and leave it at that, then you can't cancel if I find bad things.
Yes.
Okay. So now it is that it is subject to the outcome thereof being acceptable to you. Now you can either cancel the sale or you can negotiate with the seller and say, listen, my mate, there's damp, there's a roof problem, and there's this. I want the house, but I'm offering you 100,000 rand less.
Unless, of course, the seller says, I will fix it. Let's keep the price at the same.
There's a problem on that because, so a lot of the sellers will then patch the stuff. There's a big difference between patching and repairing. And a lot of them will patch it cheap and nasty just to get you off their back and get the sales price. So I recommend...
Like painting over the damp.
Yes, painting over the damp. So I recommend that you rather say, listen, give me the discount, I will do it, and it's my problem. If the seller wants to do it, you must insist on guarantees. If he repairs the damp, because proper damp repair will give you a 10-year guarantee.
Wow.
Another tip for people, if you have damp repaired, please make sure that the company who is issuing you the 10-year guarantee has been in business for longer than 10 years. A lot of these companies close after 5 years and open up another company so that they don't have to honor the 10-year guarantees. So if you talk to a guy and you say to him, okay, but you've only been in business for... No, but my previous company was so-and-so, and my previous company. Then you realize this guy, his repair work doesn't last 10 years. That's why he opens up different companies every time, and you're going to be left holding the baby.
So at what point do we phone you if we want to build from scratch? Are you the type of person we call to say, this is what the architect has done, please guide us to make sure that everything is above board?
Yes, I will sit down with you, go through the building plans. And a lot of times people can't read building plans, and then say to them, listen, do you realize those are pillars? A lot of times people don't think those little circles are pillars. Yes. And then people say, I hate pillars. Well, okay, well, the architect drew 7 in there. Maybe we need to, I'll walk you through the plans, assist you with checking the quotes from the builders, because it's not necessarily that the cheapest builder is the better one. The cheapest builder might have only given you a PC amount of 20,000 for a kitchen, whereas a kitchen's going to cost you 150,000 rand to put in. So I help you with looking at all of those things, and then I do construction quality control inspections during construction. So once a month when the builder asks for money, I go, or every week I stop off and site check. Listen, guys, that's wrong. No, don't do that. And then also what I say is I say to the builder, listen, glass is coming next. Please remember safety glass. Yeah. Please remember that, and we make sure, because if I come at the end of the thing and I say they didn't do the jointed DPC level correctly, you're going to have damp. This window was fitted skew. There's not safety glass and everything like that. It's now going to cost a lot to fix it. And the builder says, I'm not going to break down this and whatever. So it's better to pick up those things as we go along.
How much?
How much? Okay, so it depends on the size of the house. I charge per room. So if the people contact me and say they heard me on Absa Masterclass, I will give them a 10% discount.
Oh.
And if you have, just for instance, if you have a 8-room house, so it's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, lounge, dining, kitchen.
Yes. Okay. So it's not bedroom.
No, not
it's
bedroom.
room.
So it's the number of rooms. So if you have 8 rooms in the house, with your Absa discount, it'll be 4,000 Rand.
Okay. That's
So
not
it's
too
not
bad.
going to break the bank, and it's going to save you a lot of money.
All right, it's time for the news. When we come back, we continue with our masterclass with Absa Home Loans on those inspections you need to do before purchasing a property. And now we also know building a property as well. We're in conversation with Marisia Robus, who is a certified master inspector. And this is the question that I'm going to ask you, because we've got 5,000 Rand cash to give away, courtesy of Absa Home Loans. And the question is, and I remind you, please, because you love to phone us, it's a WhatsApp competition, 072-702-1702. First, fast, correct, fingers first. Fastest, correct, fingers first. And I'm being strict today. I want the exact, precise, detailed answer. This is the question. What is the name of the organization that your building inspector needs to be registered with? So that's the organization that Marisia would be registered with. And I want the full correct. I don't want acronym. Full correct from start to finish. The first one that comes in correct is the one getting 5,000 Rand. Good luck to all of you. Marisia, so we were talking now about what your rates are like and that kind of thing, and when we should be phoning you, which feels like today. Definitely. I've got 2 people on my personal WhatsApp saying, I need her. I want to talk about sectional titles and other types of properties. Do you do inspections in apartment blocks and things like that?
Yes, I do. So the big thing with sectional title, people always say, it's the body corporate's problem, it's not my problem. But if the body corporate doesn't do proper maintenance, your levies are going to go up, number one.
Yes.
And number two, if the block is run down or the complex is run down, you're not going to get a top selling price. If you buy into a new complex, in other words, it's newly built and you're one of the, you're now the first owner of your unit, insist that the body corporate does a snag list inspection on the common property. So why is this important? I recently did an inspection for a body corporate, and I found, first of all, that the chimneys of the braais on the patios were illegal.
Oh.
So what would happen is I was actually saying to the body corporate, I guarantee you're going to have some fires break out.
Yes.
And insurance is not going to pay, number one. Number two, when I climbed into the roofs, I'm also an ITC certified roof inspector, which is the Institute for Timber Construction, the only female roof inspector in the country.
I feel like you were like, I want to be the only female in everything.
Exactly. And you know what's the best of all is I arrive on site and the builders look at me and, what does this woman know? And then I'm like, my mate, stick around. I know more than you do. But in any case, so this complex, I climbed into the roof, and you're supposed to have firewalls between the units.
Yes.
There were firewalls, but the roof timber was going through the firewalls, which is illegal.
Yes.
So if a fire breaks out in the one unit, it'll go via the roof timber through the other unit. Illegal. So insurance won't pay. The plumbing pipes that were used by the plumbers were the wrong plumbing pipes.
Oh.
So many things that were wrong in that complex. And the body corporate had me do a snag list inspection. They gave it to the developer and they said, you've got 1 month to fix all of these things. And that is where you're going to save money. Because if you don't do that, a year or 18 months down the line, when you have severe rising damp, what happens now? Now it's going to cost, in that complex specifically, it would have cost them 3.8 million Rand to repair the damp. So what's going to happen? They're going to raise a special levy. You're going to pay for it. Whereas the builder or developer should have built properly in the beginning. If a fire breaks out and insurance declines the claim, but it's the builder or developer, but now 3-4 years down the line, you can't go back to them, and the NHBRC is not going to take up your cause there. The NHBRC just says it's not our problem.
So here's the question then. Do you ever get called out after or called out to check places by insurance? As an inspector, do they come and ask you to look that things were correct to begin with? Or is that a different profession altogether?
No, the insurance companies have their own inspectors.
Oh, wow.
They have their own inspectors trained. They're also registered with us. And so they have their own. They have their own inspectors.
Okay, so when now we get to, because I know we were starting to talk about, and you mentioned the NHBRC.
Yes.
What are those type, as in the role of certificate of conformance and occupancy certificates and NHBRC inspections? It sounds like a lot of things, to which I must quickly read a WhatsApp that says, it says these compliance requirements are becoming a money-making racket. Electrical compliance certificates, gas compliance certificates, and now building. By the time your house is sold, you have spent a fortune. That's coming from Paula.
Okay. Yes, I agree. But the problem is that these COCs are issued and they are not issued correctly. So you might have a COC, but it's not even worth the paper it's written on. So the NHBRC is the National Home Builders Registration Council, and when you build a new house or you buy in a complex, that unit is enrolled with the NHBRC. And what that gives you is they are supposed to come out and do inspections during construction. They are supposed to make sure that the builder builds properly and follows the rules. But they are thinly spread. They don't have enough inspectors, and they're not doing it.
Yes.
Then furthermore, they are supposed to ensure that the builder gives you a 1-year roof leak guarantee and a 5-year structural guarantee. So if you have structural cracks within the first 5 years and the builder doesn't repair it, the NHBRC is supposed to repair it. But there are major complications, and it doesn't work on the common property of a sectional title building, of a sectional title complex. And we are sitting with an issue now of a complex in 4 ways, where the clubhouse and the gatehouse and the pool area and everything, major structural cracks have developed. The Homeowners Association still haven't taken that over from the developer because they're saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and lodged a complaint with the NHBRC. NHBRC says not.
I just wanted something aware to the people also. It seems to refer to a lot of new buildings. We bought a house which was built about 15 years ago. It's already an existing property. We bought it. 5 years after that, we had an incident where the sewage system was blocked. We had a claim, and the insurance came in, and we found out, no, but the extensions was built over the sewage lines, which shouldn't be happened. So I went to a court case, and I won it, because I took the building inspector accountable for signing off the building plans. I took the contractor who does the extensions to the court, and I didn't pay for that because she continuously mentioned the insurance will not pay. I can promise you now, if I buy a house which is 20 years old, and the insurance come and tell me after 20 years they're not going to pay a claim, I wouldn't even have the insurance. So I will also take the insurance assessor accountable and say, but before you took my insurance, you need to make sure. You can't put it on the human public person because all the human public persons are not specialists.
So just a thought, Victor, from what I've experienced with insurance in general, it's not their responsibility, because I know many people say, why didn't you check first before insuring me? And this applies to cars, to lots of things, right? The way that the industry works is that the onus is on us to ensure that the things that are being insured are compliant and within whatever the rules and laws are governing that thing. But let's hear from our guest as a response to your call.
Yeah, well done for taking on the seller and the municipality and everything regarding that. And in that case, what probably happened is the person did the extensions without having building plans approved. Because if the building plans were approved, they wouldn't have been approved with building over the sewage lines. Okay, so well done for taking them on, and congratulations in winning. But you have to read your insurance documents fine print. with everything. And the fine print for your homeowner's insurance says, if your building is not built according to national building regulations, if you haven't done maintenance, they will not consider your claim. They won't pay. The insurance won't say, you must remember now that the glazing laws that I'm talking about, that you need safety glass in the bathrooms, those laws came in 2010. So if you buy a house now, it's not to say that the glass has got to be changed now. But when the window breaks and you put new glass in, make sure that it's safety glass. The only things that must be up to today's standards is the gas, because of the gas COC, and the electrical, because of the electrical COC. And that is for safety reasons. Because if the house is 30 years old and all of those old electrics and everything, you're going to have an issue.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Victor, for your call. I see you, Herman, and many of you calling. When we come back, we're going to give away some money and also take more of your questions.
Dear Journal.
Continuing in this discussion, talk about the importance of inspections before purchasing a property with Marisia Robus, certified master inspector at Nabisa. Your calls on 011 883 0702 in the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. We've got Herman in Randburg. You've got a question.
Hi, Relebogile. For Marisia. I'm in the construction industry. Been in it for about 20 years. And I think from a builder's point of view, our biggest risk is always with snag lists. That's like an opportunity for clients not to pay you. So from her perspective, does she also render a service to builders or construction companies to make sure that it's a reasonable and a fair snag list and that builders can get paid on time?
I think that's a really good question, because from your perspective, you should be able to challenge certain things. So, Marisia, do you offer those services?
Yes, I do. And a lot of times I tell clients, listen, the house is being constructed by humans. So you cannot expect the wall to be absolutely smooth as glass. When it's plastered, there are going to be a few little imperfections. If you wanted a piece of glass to be painted, you should have inspected that. So yes, I do offer that. And then I also assist developers to do snag lists for them when they employ building contractors to make sure that everything is done accordingly. But yes, I do assist builders as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Herman, for the construction perspective. Bernard in Linksfield, go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Hi, it's Bernard here. I'm a consultant for a damp proofing company. Okay. And I see people buying homes, and the estate agent, tells him wonderful stories, and then the new owner goes in and finds the damp. I blame the estate agents for that. They know very well if there's damp in the house. A lot of them have got moisture meters on them. Unfortunately, they're Mickey Mouse ones, but there are moisture meters of some sort. The estate agent has a different agenda. They want to sell the house. They're not interested if there's damp in there. I have been to houses where people have cried and said to me, "I can't believe this is what happened to me." I am a certified member of DWA, and I'm certified to do.
Oh, so sorry, Bernard. Your line has got super wonky. What is your feedback there, Marisia?
I agree 100%. In the last 7 years, I have found one house that didn't have damp damage.
What?
Yes. So
is it because it was built the day before you got there?
It was actually because they already had damp repair done.
Oh my
by
gosh.
a reputable company. So if I'm telling you that even this building we're sitting in, I saw damp damage outside. Okay? So there is damp. 99.9% guaranteed.
The reason I believe you,
damp.
right, and we're quite new in this building, is the rain is quite bad. But I have to then ask a question because, I mean, you're touching on the damp thing, which now we're all going to walk away saying, ask about damp and mold.
Yes.
What about coastal homes? Are there different standards or things that you look out for with coastal homes?
So the biggest thing with coastal homes is you have the borer beetles in the roof timber. So that is a big issue. But you have the same damp issues. You have the same problems in coastal homes. The only thing, obviously, is that you would rather have aluminium window frames. Steel window frames at the coast is a nightmare because you'll be painting them every second year.
Yes. I mean, I shuddered to see what happens to the people's cars down there.
I know.
Like the rust is. So the maintenance is quite hectic down there.
Yeah. So maintenance is very important and very critical. And I gave you a copy of my book, The Proud Homeowner, as a gift.
Yes.
And I also have the Proud Homeowner Maintenance Program. It's an online program with more than 38 hours of maintenance guidance. So it's really a treasure trove of information and how to do maintenance and how not to do maintenance and which products to use and which products not to use. Because if you do maintenance correctly, you won't have to do it every 6 months or every year.
Yes.
And if you do it wrong, it's like patching things. It's just going to keep on appearing.
Definitely. Absolutely. Definitely. So can you just repeat for us where people can check out that online
Okay, it's
course?
proudhomeowner.co.za.
proudhomeowner.co.za is where all of you can get an opportunity to go. Marisia, are you ready to give some money away?
I am.
So you're going to be our judge? Mujalifa from Lenasia, the question that we asked to give away 5,000 Rand cash courtesy of Absa Home Loans today is, what is that organization that your building inspector needs to be registered with? And I want the full name. Talk to me.
The National Association of Building Inspectors of South Africa.
Marisia?
Perfect.
Yay!
Perfect.
5,000 Rand cash is yours, Mujalifa. So I know who I'm coming to for that loan. It's almost payday loan. Stay on the line so we can take all of your details. Thank you for tuning into the 702 Masterclass with me, brought to you by Absa Home Loans. Come back every first and last Wednesday of the month for more conversations with property industry experts guiding you on the next chapter of your home ownership story. Wherever you find yourself on the journey, make sure you stay tuned to the 702 Facebook and X pages, and of course to this masterclass, the first and the last Wednesday of every month, where you can walk away with 5,000 Rand cash. Absa Home Loans is committed to housing the nation one home ownership story at a time. Your story matters. Absa, Ts&Cs apply. Absa is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider, NCR CP7.